All right, so we're live. Yeah. Welcome to the Project Exodus podcast, episode 2.5. Yeah. My name is Paul. I am with Project Exodus. This is
Andrew. Joel.
And Brock with Happy Helpers Moving Co.
Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast where we talk about real things with life and recovery. We want to take a minute to say thank you to Brock and Happy Helpers Moving for providing us with this beautiful place to come and record. We're super grateful, man. We're so thankful. We appreciate you, and I can't put into words how much it means to us that you're willing to sacrifice your time, money, and effort to help us build this platform to help people. So thank you very much.
Dude, I love you guys. You're all good people. I'm super grateful to have met you guys and excited to see where this thing can go.
Likewise.
So, good stuff.
Man. So before we get too far into the podcast, the first episode that we did here, I went over kind of what Project Exodus is. The second episode, we didn't really touch on it. So just for a few minutes, I want to explain what Project Exodus Corp is, how it got started, and then we'll kind of dive into some different stuff, I reckon. But my name's Paul again, and my story is that I am a drug addict. And I want to say about over a year and a half into my recovery, I was doing good. I went through a halfway house and commenced from there. Me and my fiance Shelby were expecting our first kid, and I ran into Joel at a meeting one night that we typically would frequent. There was like a guy in his house that needed a phone or something, and we kind of pulled our money together and got it for him. And this was not uncommon. It was something we did a lot. Because we would meet guys that were new into the program and they were just really trying to overcome this addiction and battled through the consequences of their actions. And a lot of times they needed help. And it could be something as simple as a pair of shoes or a haircut or, a phone just to get a job or whatever the case may be. And it wasn't unusual for us to take money out of our own pockets to help people. And Joel asked me one day, he was like, why don't we do this for a living? Like, how do we turn this into a thing where we can raise money and help people? And so we started we applied for a 501c3, and shortly after we applied, we found out that we had to have 3 members on the board. And I'll never forget this. It was October 5th because I was at the hospital. Charlotte was being born. Andrew was up there visiting, and we went to go get a snack from like the cafeteria or something, and I told Andrew about it and asked him if he would be interested in doing this with us. And lo and behold, Project Exodus Corp was born. And what was the date, Joel?
I think November 5th was our official day.
Yeah, I think that was the day we was awarded the 501c3, or we actually did all the paperwork. And this was 2023, November 5th, and today is August 1st. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
August 1st. And so within that amount of time, we've went from just, taking a meeting to the Salvation Army to, helping people with what little donations we could come up with, to having a full-on T-shirt business where we sell T-shirts for $20, and there's about a $5 profit margin that we use that $5 to help people in early recovery, whether it's get into a halfway house or, the things we mentioned earlier, like shoes, cell phones, things like that.
Bus pass.
Bikes, bus passes, yep.
Groceries, clothes.
Yeah, you name it. And that also, we started a meeting every Saturday night called Next Generation Recovery. It's at 1701 South Tuttle Avenue. That's in Sarasota. And it has been amazing. When we started, we didn't think we'd have the support that we've had, and it's live streamed every Saturday night on our Facebook page. If you're listening to this, please go follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube, Project Exodus Corp, and it's growing. It's growing fast.
Dude, you guys had what, I was in there, last week? It was 2 weeks ago. It was like 50, 60, 70 people in there.
Yeah.
And how long ago did you guys start? You said, was it November?
Well, the meeting?
Yeah.
The meeting
how long was the meeting?
April 27th was the first.
Dude, so that's like how many months?
We had
most meetings don't even have close to that many people in there.
No.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been very rewarding. It's one thing to help somebody. It's another thing to see that same person get their kids back.
Yeah. Damn, that hits.
Yeah, or see that same person like get off probation and have a car and move in their own house. And it's such a rewarding feeling. Not everybody's got a rock bottom that low. I did, but to see someone overcome through just persistence when they had nothing or no one, and to know that you got them a bicycle or a bus pass, they're so grateful and appreciative. And we're just lucky to have this platform and this opportunity. And I thank Andrew and Joel so much for pushing me and believing in me to help do the things that I do with it. And I couldn't do any of it without them. And we meet great people like you. We meet great people like Nicole that just encourage us. It's weird when you can get off the phone with people that you just met and be like, I love you.
Yeah, right.
And genuinely feel that way. And
sometimes it's awkward. They're like, huh?
Yeah, wait, what?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
I look forward to it. Yeah, there's some people in our community that are like, they're pinnacles of recovery that I've gotten to know. One of the people was Alan, and the first time I told Alan on the phone I loved him, he was like, huh? but like, and now when I hang up with the phone with people like that, they're like, I love you too. Like they beat me to the punchline.
Damn.
But it's really turned into this family, and it's more than just friends. We really lean on each other. When there's like tragic things that happen in our community, we really band together. And do what we can to support each other. And when we see a new person coming into recovery, it's like we're running to help them.
That's awesome, man.
And Andrew says this, and I hate to steal your line. He was like, at one point in his recovery, you realize like AA wasn't enough.
Mm.
And then that hits home to me in the sense that like I'm glad to know that there's something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say it's not enough. It just felt like, the 12 steps was great. Having a sponsor was great. The meeting was great. But after like doing that stuff a lot for years, it was like, I have a son. I want to have a life outside of AA, and I'm not getting what I need, all of what I need from AA. Like I want something else. And so like service and this meeting kind of is like, I think it's filling that gap that I felt like I had.
Yeah.
I mean, we met you.
Yeah, fucking here, and here we are, dude. In
my heart.
some warehouse on a podcast.
I gotta tell the Brock story. So,
do I know the Brock story?
No, you're fixing to. So, when we started this meeting, if for people that know me, like I suffer like anybody with anxiety and like irrational fears and things like that. And with this meeting, it's kind of like with the podcast. It's like it's never good enough. Mm-hmm. As great as it is, it's like, oh, the lighting or this or that.
There's always a new level, new devil.
And so when we started this meeting, we knew we wanted to be different. So originally, we started not knowing how to operate everything, but we got to a point where we had like a presenter, and then we had a panel, and it just flowed. So the night that I had Brock up on the panel, and Nicole and Zach, and who else was up there? Joel. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Brock had been to very many of the meetings.
No.
But like, if I'm like,
I want to stand up for this,
dude, it was crazy. So like for me, like if you just knowing me, it's like I just like things to flow, because like I don't ever want to go past the 8:00 time frame,
right? That you guys just cut off.
Because if you've ever been in a meeting that's an hour long, that ends at 7, at 6:58 you're looking at your watch, and at 6:02 or 7:02 you're like, I'm out. I'm not sitting around, and so I don't want to.
Screw the prayer, I'm out of here.
In any meeting I've been in, I've attached to that. I'm like, I'm not coming back to this one. They talk too long, And there are meetings where they just don't care. So we just kind of made it this thing. So this particular night, leading up to it, Brock's like, I've got like 15 minutes. It's as short as I can get it, and I'm like,
cut it down.
It's like, Brock, it's like there's 4 of you on stage, and if each of you spoke 5 minutes, that's 20 minutes. So,
the time ain't adding up, bud.
so I present the first question. I don't remember what it was on. Was it on finance?
Yeah, the first one was on finance. Yeah.
Recovering financially. So I go down. I know Brock's got something to say. I don't know what it is. But I go and I start down the one side, and then I come through and ask the first question. Everything's kosher. And then I go to the second question, go to the first two people, and I go to Brock, and I just look at him, and I look down at his phone, and it's like 7:35. So I'm like, oh, this dude's got time. I'm like, go ahead, bro. And Brock takes the mic, and he stands up. It's like, I got to stand up for this, and walks off stage and starts going. And to be fair, amazing job. Like, it was so good.
Passionate.
But in my mind, I'm like, what have I done? Because
Someone grabbed the mic.
Oh, I haven't, like, to this day, I still haven't rewatched it because I know that I'm just like, my face has got to be.
We got to put a little clip at the bottom of the video here.
Instant regret.
But you did a great job. But like, there was like, it was just so funny because like, just knowing me, like, you would think, oh, my head's gonna explode. But to be fair, like, he did a great job. He ended up going for like 15 minutes. And he turned around. He's like, how much time I got left?
Paul's like, give the fucking mic back.
It's almost 8.
I was like, I was like, none. Any time left, and he like wrapped up. But no, to you, again, he did a great job, and we have to prepare him next time so he can just have the entire stage. He doesn't need a panel. Just let him go, because I had some guys that would come, like Lonnie comes to that meeting, text me, and he was like, Lonnie's one of those type of people that he's very picky. Like, he don't have a lot of time. Like, so if he goes to a meeting, it has to be something he really enjoys. And he texts me afterwards like, hey, I really like Brock. I really enjoyed that. And so from that perspective, it's like your value is means a lot to us in this community. So we're very appreciative.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I just won't come there next time.
Yeah, right.
So, Joel,
What's up, man?
what are you
hey,
thinking
Joel.
about?
I didn't know you were here.
Nothing. I thought you were gonna hit us with some questions, man. What's going on?
Yeah, so oh man, one of the things I was
Can we-
thinking. Yeah, go for it.
Can we talk about how like all three of us know each other? Like how like, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with anything, man.
All right. So, tell everyone how we met, where we met.
So, first time I met you was I was walking in on probably the worst day of my life. I was coming into a halfway house in Sarasota, Florida. Walked right in the front door. I think you were the first one talking. You asked if I was there to steal your shit.
And,
Friends
I probably
forevermore.
was joking, but
Yeah.
Totally.
just don't touch my food. It's in this section of the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not to really realize I was going to be involved with those recovery homes to date. I mean, I'm still involved with them. That's 3 years later. So I had no idea that's kind of the way life was going to work out. But
Did you end up going back, and then like going back out and then coming back, right? And then
yeah, I did a little 3-week bender, and it was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So.
And then I went back out, and then you were still sober. I moved back into the house for like maybe
A day and
8
a half.
hours.
Yeah.
And I was off to the races. And then at one point, then I met him. And I don't know how much do you want to talk about at all how I met you?
Well,
Because so in my relapse, that led me to I got to stay at this hotel that Grady Judd in Polk County runs. And so I was there for like 90 days, and that's where I met this gentleman.
yeah. So I met Andrew. I had never been to Sarasota at all. I didn't know what Sarasota was. I'm foreign to Florida in general. Kind of like I'm assuming like you are.
Yeah.
I was living in Orlando, and I got arrested, and was sent to Polk County Jail. And to be fair, like I was completely foreign to like the justice system in general, the correction system. But I show up to Polk County Jail, and I actually get put in a different like cell. And as I go into this cell, there's like I just was like, I don't want to go into that one. And there was one next to it. And so I walked, and I'm like, hey, can I sleep in here? You got a bed? And Andrew's like, yeah, we got a bed. So I go into this cell, and I actually meet Andrew in Polk County Jail. I want to take a second to say this, though. I knew Joel before I ever got out of jail because Andrew would tell me about him, and I knew about his sponsor and the people in Sarasota because in jail all you got is the stories that other people tell you. And what's really funny is with Andrew's case, when when he got pulled over, his car got taken into an impound, right? And then someone came and got your car.
Yeah.
Well, it was Joel's house lead, Greg, that came and got the car. And I'll never forget Joel telling me
And
about
my
the,
sponsor, who ended up being your first sponsor.
yes. And what's so funny is like Andrew tells this story. Well, there's all these different angles from this story and the people that were involved. And later, Joel tells me about the night that the car shows up at the house. and so if you can imagine like a trap car that's full of drugs and paraphernalia being driven home, and like as the guy's driving it, he realizes there's drugs all in the car. And then, not to mention, he pulls up into a recovery home driveway that are full of drug addicts, and Joel walks out and there's drugs.
He
all in
still
the car.
he still talks about that like
Oh,
2.5
my
years
goodness.
later.
But it's just so funny because, like, as I was hearing Andrew telling these stories and not knowing anyone, and then later getting to meet all the characters in the story, it was like living out
The movie.
Yeah, living
Yeah.
out the movie after you read the book, and it's so funny how many of these characters became such important parts of my life. So I met Joel the day I got out of jail. Andrew got me to Sarasota.
Damn.
And I walk in and there's Joel. And Joel helped me through that process. And ultimately, I don't want to say we all became like the best of friends ever, but it was just like there was always these constants.
Yeah.
And I was talking a little bit about how I said earlier he didn't like Joel, but
Who, me?
no,
Oh.
I didn't tell him about
Who
that.
was it?
No. But if people that know that like we all have different personalities and we all serve a different role. Joel's like the disciplinarian. Like he's the real one. He's gonna call you out and tell you like you're screwing up or you're doing great. And there's no cut and dry in between. And,
Straight to the point.
And every team needs that.
Yeah.
Like that killer be killed mentality. Like this is what we're doing. This is how it's done.
We're not beating around the bush.
And
Joe wants no BS.
yeah.
Like I saw him at the speaker meeting. I was over a year, like clean sober, and doing great. And we don't talk, like regularly. But the first thing he says to me is, "You done yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude. I'm like, I just got my medallion like 2 months ago. Like, are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm done."
where does that come from? Like, have you always been like that?
No, I mean that's just coming from like real talk. I didn't want to dance with him for 3 hours and then be like, "Hey, are
Dance.
you really done now?" You know,
Just
yeah. I mean, like,
first thing.
just you fucking done or not, man? Like, because otherwise you can't really go forward. I mean, if in the back of my mind's like, I still think maybe I can, use or drink successfully, then I can't really even work a program of recovery. Yeah, I can show up to meetings. Yeah, I can talk to a sponsor, but I'm not really doing any real groundbreaking, work.
Mm-hmm.
If in the back of my mind. So when I'm asking you, are you ready? Like, are you even ready to begin? I mean, yeah, you can show up to meetings. Yeah, you can get a job. Yeah, you can get a car. Yeah, you can move out on your own. But like, can you work a program? That's what I meant.
No, I
by
mean, I
that.
appreciate it. It's like what I like about you. He's just like,
So, are you fucking ready?
I'm ready. I'm still ready.
I wish
I'm
someone
going.
came up to me and asked me. No one said nothing. No one asked me, like, am I really doing this or not?
So, for those that don't know, Joel is, I guess I would say, director. Like I don't know what the position is for a very large group of recovery homes here in town, and is very good at his position. But Joel probably gets to see a lot of the good, the bad, the ugly of recovery. Like typically when you talk to people about recovery, it's someone that's been sober for a while, and you get to hear about how great their life is and where they came from. But you don't hear a lot about the people that are just not doing well.
They're down in the trenches still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling us the story of that house manager you had and the guy coming home drunk, Mr. JT? You know what I'm talking about?
Which guy or which house manager? I mean,
He's got too many stories to
yeah,
choose from,
man.
bro.
Oh, I know which one. It's the one.
you
where he
mean for
got-
the new house?
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
Not his story, but the particular night that he was in the bed asleep.
something happened to him?
Oh, that's yeah.
I don't know where
It was
we're
actually
going.
this guy I was
like when I woke
sponsoring.
him up.
No, forgive me for bringing up the Joel runs. He has no
No, I
idea.
mean like which guy? The house manager himself, or
Yeah, you remember that time JT was in the bed asleep and he had some guy come home drunk?
and pissed on his bed.
Did it? Shh, that's what we were waiting for.
I didn't know we were looking for like a comical story. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Do you have any
I had
oth-
to sift through them.
like you got can you think of like any other like just crazy stories that
that are funny.
or yeah,
Oh,
preferably.
man. I don't know. I've had guys that I disqualified out of the house and they went and hid in the bushes and I couldn't get them out and the cops had to drag them out after like 3 hours. I mean, I've had just some wild nights.
Didn't you have a guy like clean fish or something on the counter?
Yeah, I had. I mean, I've had so many people. I mean, even my own house manager. I woke up and he was mowing the yard at 4 a.m. with a headlight. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is. We just lost another one. I didn't know at that time that I was going to be taking his position either. You know, so it actually worked out great for me. I mean, he'd be, you know, I was having the conversation with the owner, and you know, so
It's sad. It's funny, but it's sad. Because like the guy, Marshall, who ended up urinating on JT in his sleep. I have no idea where he's at. No idea. I haven't heard from him. I've reached out.
I know there's people going like, "Oh, we got to hear that story." From my understanding, JT's a good friend of ours. Hashtag free JT. And JT, if you're listening, I'm sorry that we're putting this into the ether, but JT is a house manager. His job is basically just to kind of monitor the house, collect rent, drug test guys randomly, breathalyze them, stuff like that. Just make sure everybody's, cleaning up after themselves, making their bed, whatever. And one particular night he's in the bed asleep and there's this housemate that comes in and he's obviously got a drinking problem. He went out and he got drunk and I'm telling this through a couple of the different housemates that elaborated on it, but he comes in and he sits on the couch. And at one point in time, he looks at another guy in the room. He's like, "Hey," he gets up. I'm going to go take a piss. But instead of going into the bathroom, he walks into the house manager's bedroom and just proceeds to piss on the bed. And Jack, sitting on the couch, tells me the next thing he hears JT go, "Yo, what the fuck?" It's like, and I actually intentionally did not talk to JT that next day because I just knew that he had to be like.
He needed a process.
I talked to him that morning. He's like, "Dude, I'm gonna kill your sponsee. I'm gonna fucking kill him." He owes me a new mattress.
that's funny. Jack was in the other room, like, yeah, go do what you want to do tonight, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of some. So I mean, that's probably what every guy in the house wants to do is go. If they're gonna relapse, they want to relapse by pissing on their house manager. I mean, you just depends on what kind of relationship you build over there.
Yeah, if I'm going to go out,
It's
gonna
all
go out
uphill
with a
from
bang.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to you can be a leader. I mean, that's kind of what it is. A lot of these guys aren't used to being leaders of anyone, not even their own lives, and then they're thrown in this leadership position, and they're either taking a control perspective or they're being a friend, and they're either enabling or they're cutting them off. I mean, it's just there's so much psychological.
It's a hard line to walk.
It's bizarre. It's probably one of the truly weirdest relationships to have.
Yeah, because then I was an assistant house manager at the house I was in, and I did not want to do it. Like people were really pushing me to go be a house manager. What made me accept the position was I asked Joel, and I was like, "Man, they want me to do this," and he was like, "It's really good for your recovery." And I had never looked at it from that perspective of it being good for me, and it was because I genuinely got to talk
You
to
want someone
other.
to turn that down?
Hey, Eden.
Turn that down. I
Yeah.
can hear it. It might pick up.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is picking up in the mics.
Perfect.
There you go.
The bandit.
Yeah.
So you took position, or
Yeah, I took the position. I worked. I knew that I wasn't going to stay at this point in time. For anybody that knows, I knew that my fiance was pregnant, and I was kind of secretive about it. I didn't want anybody to know, but I knew I wasn't going to take like a full-time role, kind of like what Joel's doing. But I was so glad that I took the assistant role because it really kind of opened my eyes to understanding that I'm an example to other people. Mm-hmm. Like I can't just be one of the guys. and be your friend all the time. And that's a difficult part about being a house manager. It's like you have to draw that line in the sand because people are going to test you, like, for sure. And knowing how to have that balance of not being too tough but not being too soft and being kind of tough when you have to.
Knowing where the guardrails need to go.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that either. I mean, I'm either like, hey, can you clean up your room? Can you? Or I'm like, clean up your room or, pack your shit tonight. Like there's like my imagination on what's that middle ground is just gone. I have no idea how to be anywhere in between that.
I envy that, dude. Like I know like one of my character defects, like the main one is like people pleasing, like the fear of confrontation or like offending someone. I wish I had that, like, just, I don't care. Like, this is the rules. This is the boundary. This is how it is. And I'm sure I'm like that in many areas, but like you have it dialed into a science where it's like, oh, okay, this is the authority in this house, And so some people may not see that side of Joel, but that's like the beauty of it.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't even think that's even a strong suit of mine. And I think I just kind of grew out of that position as well. Just, I don't really have any love for being like a rule-based leader. I just don't feel like I'm effective in that way. I don't feel like I touch. I don't feel like I connect with the guys. Being I want to take another step. A higher level than that. Like, I'm not going to force a guy to go to 4 meetings a week. I'm worried about when he goes to that meeting, how does he participate? Like what's the quality of the meeting? And a lot of guys are more like, I need numbers. I need 4 meetings a week. I need you to meet with your sponsor. I'm worried about when you meet with your sponsor, what is the quality of that meeting? You know what I mean? Like quality over quantity. So
yeah,
like how in it.
And it's not like make your bed. It's like, this is why we make our bed. This is how we, what I mean? Like walk them through that. And a lot of people, I don't think are bringing in the psychological factors that are really need to be instilled in them to understand. Like JT, JT's delivering, and no offense to JT, he's done great over at that house. And but I see a lot of rule based. Maybe not. He's not applying like the psychological aspect of why he's doing those rules. I mean, curfews to help keep them sober. It's for them. It's not just a rule. People aren't staying sober based on rules. And it's not even about staying sober. It's about the quality of life you're going to live and how you're going to be able to help other people having
After the halfway house.
Yeah, so it's, so I could see why guys would relapse and then go piss on him in the middle of the night. That's me.
That's,
Sorry, JT.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like JT ended up handling it okay. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't get up and just.
No, he's been amazing. I can't wait to,
That's actually how I ended up meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Was from JT.
Yeah. It's JT's a good dude. I was gonna ask all three of you this, and I just think it's an interesting topic, and I think a lot of people can relate to it. In recovery, like being sober. And we're all adults here, especially us. Like when you start, for me, like venturing out and dating or meeting new people, and at what point do you disclose your past? Is it something that you're extremely honest and transparent about? Or, if you're meeting someone that's maybe not sober and doesn't really have a drinking problem or a drug problem, explaining to them like why you go to these meetings, or like, what is the process for each of you? Like, what do you think, Brock?
I've always just been super straightforward. I mean, I've always just been like, yep, grew up in this place. These are the things that I did from a very young age. Went to the military, came back, still had an issue with it. Like it got worse. I mean, I don't know. I'm always just because part of me feels like if they can't handle that, then I'd rather get them out of the way now,
Right.
So that's my take on it.
About you, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I admire Brock for that. A lot of times I sit in fear, depending on where I think that relationship's going to go. I'm worried more about not even the information itself, but like how I'm going to describe that, especially to a non-alcoholic, non-addict. It's hard it's hard to describe like powerless to them. You know what I mean? It's so I don't know. I've only been recently dating lately, and you know, maybe it's just. I don't know. I don't think I explained it that well. I'll tell you that, man.
I haven't told anyone.
It's a drag. I drag it on a little bit.
Let me ask you this. So just with that in mind, like with in the moments that you have brought it up, what's like the general response? And do you feel the response is genuine?
Yeah, it's definitely been a positive response. You know, if
Oh
I
my
have,
God, you're sober. That's so cute.
you'll like still dance and stuff, you know. So I don't know. I put it on like if I'm on a dating app, I put sober on there. So I think that actually feeds out a lot of, you know, people that
Want someone to drink
like,
with?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
drinking never, smoking never.
Yeah,
dude,
there's an
I-
option for sober on one of my. I can't really.
I will
remember,
say
but-
when I was on Bumble and Tinder and all that stuff, I tried like turning off all those filters. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick my perfect person. It was like no smoking, no drinking. I identified it all, and it was literally like I had like a 30-mile radius. It was like there's no one in your area. So I was like, they said try expanding your search filters. I was like, fuck.
So I want to, for Andrew, I just want to say this. Like Shelby, if you're listening, cover your ears. Before I met Shelby, like I was using these dating apps, and I felt like telling people like actually got me more traction. It's like I don't drink. I'm 6 months sober.
Like this guy's got his fucking shit together.
I had no filters. Like I live in a halfway house. I don't have a driver's license, and they're just like,
Yes.
I was attracted to all of those
Yes.
like
Whole package.
Yeah,
Well, what can I come get you now?
yeah. I was getting like
You need a ride?
I was getting the like psychotic pretty girls that thought they could fix me, like the toxic ones.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm kind of like with Brock on this. Like I wanted to be honest about it because I just wanted to get it out there. But I was also kind of that guy that was like, I'm not looking for anything serious. You know.
So it's easy to put it all out there when you're not looking for something serious anyways.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
led me to you know, a beautiful daughter and a long-term relationship. And that.
But it's it's a little difficult for me because it's like I didn't realize after a couple of years how far I got into recovery. You know, co-founding a nonprofit, managing 5 recovery homes for a completely different company. You know, it's like now I'm on a podcast. Now, you know what I mean? Now we got the Next Generation Recovery meeting. I'll be up on stage Saturday night. It's like, how do I explain that?
Well, pretty soon you won't have to, bro. After this podcast goes where
Yeah.
it's going,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're Joel from the sober podcast."
I want to say this. Like, I feel like Joel's doing it like the right way. Like, you know, in recovery, they's like, oh, don't date for the first year, and like Joel like has honored like all of that, and you can see it in his lifestyle and the way he lives and the way his life's doing out. And yeah, I'm of course Joel's like, you know, a good buddy of mine, so I want to gas him up in any way I can, but I don't have to. Like he does it for himself, and same thing with Andrew. I mean, like, and I'll let you chime in on what dating's like for you, but you know, it to me. I feel like if Joel told anybody all this stuff, he could sell himself. Like you know what I mean? Like he's got all these great things. One of Shelby's good friends approached me one night. I went to Shelby's work. She was working at a restaurant downtown at the time, and I had just left the Salvation Army on a Friday night. And when I walk in, Shelby's like waiting on a table, and her friend comes up and she goes, "I just want to tell you how proud of you I am." I'm like, "What?" It's like a really weird way to approach someone. She goes, "I asked Shelby what you were doing earlier, and she said that you were at the Salvation Army helping people." She's like, "That is so cool that you do that on a Friday night." And I'm like, "Are you trying to get my number?" You know, no. But like, I think the recovery thing, unintentionally, is it shows your character.
Yep.
You know, like how deep are you in recovery? Like Joel said, like what kind of service work are you doing? I'm doing it for me, you know, because I'm staying sober and helping other people, but I understand how it looks to other people, and I hope that it can inspire people to, you know, so no wonder girls are falling head over heels for Joel and his recovery. And what's your reception been, Andrew?
It's usually something I don't want. It's not like the first thing I say, but I don't try to hide it. I try to, I don't know, just get a feel for the person. It depends on what I'm looking for, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've been trying to like actually date and be with one person, and like, I have a son, so it's just tricky. I'm kind of done with all the
Debauchery.
yeah, just it's unfulfilling, and
Are
if anything,
you?
huh?
Are you?
Yeah, I am. It is unfulfilling. It feels good. It's just like a drug. So, but
Yep.
anyways, so
It's its own addiction.
yeah. So since like I don't know, since like I moved back to Sarasota 2019, I've dated a few girls exclusively, and yeah, it's not. I have no shame about talking about my past. Most of it's public record. You can Google me. Some of them have, and it's like, oh my god, domestic battery. What's that about? Just chill out. It's no big deal.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, it's not who I am. It's just what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if the girl's like, let's go out for drinks. Usually I probably won't end up like meeting those people. But I don't know. I mean. I'm not like trying to date like raging alcoholics. So usually like, I can filter out the ones that I'm probably not going to want to like hang out with because who knows, like do you party? Like, no, like I'm not going to talk to her anymore.
Yeah. There's I'm a hypocrite talking about this, but like there's like it's pretty much like a ground rule. Like you don't date within the rooms. You try not to. Rooms of recovery.
Do people follow that rule?
No, absolutely not. No. I don't think that it. I don't know. I don't really have too much of an opinion on it, but typically what happens is it blows up in your face. I don't know if Joel's ever experienced this. I'm not sure that I have. Andrew definitely has, where maybe you meet a girl at one meeting and you don't like her later, and then
that's like a big thing. Why like not to date in the rooms, at least like if you're not being honest and you're not really like, if you're just in there to like get laid, be honest about it, and if the other, even still, I mean, that's another, even in outside the meetings, but it's just, you don't want it to be awkward for somebody who is, either early in recovery or somebody who's struggling in recovery and sleep with them and then just ditch them, ghost them, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, this person doesn't want to go to meetings anymore because, this scumbag's there or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they just can get. I just wouldn't want to jeopardize somebody else's recovery because I was being selfish and wanted to get laid. Versus like trying to do things the right way. So I guess honesty is the best thing. But I mean, who else? What's the dating pool? I mean, I'm dating somebody that I met through an app, but is in recovery. So like I still end up meeting somebody in recovery, but I don't know. It's almost like people who have the same background as you, like understand.
It seems kind of weird that you wouldn't date someone in recovery.
Right.
Like, because it's like two people that are both like have the same value or like perspective now on like drinking, and like you'd think that in a good situation or in a healthy relationship, it would actually like excel each other to like grow and stay sober.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah. I love where you're going with that. Especially like if you love the gym, like that's probably your best dating pool, even though it's an awkward place to try to talk to someone, and just like you're saying, like, yeah, don't be a predator. That's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
Don't be in the gym talking to chicks, but like if you work out, like date a girl that works out.
Yeah. Say hi to the girls.
Don't be picking up girls in the rooms, but like it might be a good thing to date a girl who's also in recovery.
Yeah.
So, like, I can give you a little bit on this. So Shelby is, and for anonymity, I guess, like, doesn't matter. She's in recovery. I met Shelby in recovery. I don't know that it's good or bad. What I will tell you cannot do, at least for us, is we can't be each other's sponsor. Because what happens is, like I'm through the steps and I'm sponsoring people, and Shelby's not sponsoring anyone currently, but she has way more knowledge about recovery than me. But if I was to come in and try to give her advice on how to work her steps or what meetings she should go to, she'll resent it. And same thing for me. And like what I've learned in the relationships recovery is like you have to keep that separate. I mean, it's fine if you like go to meetings together and obviously things like that, but it's dangerous because like with Andrew, like what Andrew's saying, it's like I don't want her in our relationship if something was to go wrong or her to use or I to use. That's kind of one of those things. So for us, we don't really talk about recovery much. We do go to some meetings together, and but even then, it's like I can't relate to her recovery. Like she probably can't relate to mine. I think that's a really hard thing for men and women to do, is relate to a lot of the struggles that you may experience opposed to what she may experience. But it's been great for me just because I've learned so much from her. I don't think she's learned anything from me as far as recovery, but it does motivate me.
No, that's not true.
I can't speak for her, but
I'll call her.
No, but I mean, I would say like it's just something you gotta be careful with. Like you dating in the rooms. One of the big no-nos is the 13th step, and for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's someone that's like seasoned in recovery that sees a cute or handsome new person that's a week or 2 weeks or a couple months,
30-day chip, like
and then you're trying to pick them up. It's considered being. There's one particularly famous lady in our town that considers them predators. It's a strong word, but like it's really kind of frowned upon because they need to be focused on getting sober, not focus on starting a new relationship. And the person, whoever's seasoned in recovery, should know better than that.
Yeah,
and
it's and I think they say first year or whatever, but that's really just so that person, you can allow them to have more sober moments, feelings involved. I mean, like, I mean, that's kind of the end goal for me always was to have one day have a healthy relationship. I was never going to be able to do that through, drinking and using. And, and I don't know if I would have relapsed over it, but I definitely would have handled those early emotions very well, being sober and having to, what I mean?
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't know what that is.
visitors. I can't go. Never mind.
Anyway, what was Jill saying just now?
I think a lot of people in 12-step programs say to give a year, but that's really the reality of it is, like, if you're wanting some type of relationship, you're gonna have to go through some ups and downs. You're gonna if you're gonna fall in love, you're gonna have to go through that. You're gonna have to go through your struggles. I mean, like every other relationship, you're gonna maybe fall in love with someone who doesn't love you back. I mean, you're gonna have to go through the full human emotional circle, and you're gonna have to do it sober. And there's no better way to do it than to go through it rawly.
There's no rule though. You don't have to be a year, but I mean,
well,
it's suggestions,
and it's a suggestion, and you're right. And what I will say is recovery is about discipline and honesty. Like being disciplined enough to go to your meetings and do your step work, and be responsible enough to say no to tempting situations. The difficult thing about recovery is we're all adults and we're all human, and we all have needs and desires and wants. And when you put boundaries and rules around anything, people are going to want to break out of that box, And so when it comes to relationships, and it's like, nope, you can't do this, or we suggest you don't do this, that temptation's there. When personally, for me, it's just be honest about it. If you're going to go and date someone, whether they're in recovery or not, you have to be prepared to walk up and say, hey, I live in a halfway house. I ride a bicycle. You can't come over. I can't pick you up. I have meetings that I go to. And I'm not in a point in my life where I can have a committed relationship with you and provide you with what you need. And if you're okay with that, then we can be friends and we can see where this goes. But there's these guilty pleasures that are just, you may not be comfortable talking about those things. So you have to be careful with how you handle that moment. I completely agree 100% with Joel when they say wait a year. Like deep down, it's like wait a year. Give yourself a year to grow and repair. But if you're not going to do it, you need to be willing to be upfront and stop trying to hide behind your past, or the fact that this is really what it is. And so I think a lot of people then try to find people in the rooms that may have a little bit of understanding of what you're dealing with.
So there's also this other issue I see a lot. I see the guy or the woman staying sober for the year. They start dating. Well, they haven't worked any step work in real life in relationships. So they worked on step work about themselves, and they evaluate kind of their true self and worked on self-acceptance and face their fears and all that. But they didn't do it in the confines of a real relationship live. You know what I mean? So they get away from kind of their step work a little bit and start dating. Well, then, 6 months later, I hear about so-and-so relapsing or whatever. They're back out on some crazy bender or whatever. But, so I like, the option for someone to do step work while dating, to be in a real close contact with their sponsor and kind of work through the steps and see it in action, see it in their actual relationship, instead of just kind of like do all the step work by yourself and then go out in society and try to mimic what you may have learned about yourself or whatever, but you're doing it with another person, and it's like,
Until I worked the steps, I didn't really understand, but it's like, I still don't really fully understand who I am, but I do have a much better grasp on it now that I have. But my experience in the past is that, and a lot of people do it, like you start dating somebody new, you stop talking to your friends as much, you stop hanging out with them so much because you're excited and you're in love or whatever. But like the relationship takes priority over the recovery. And then what if it's, you don't want to go to a meeting because those are boring, but you're excited about this relationship you're in, so you skip meetings or whatever. It takes place of what's important, and that's staying sober. Because if you don't stay sober, you don't stay clean, you can die. Or
not every meeting's boring.
No.
Next Generation Recovery. We
Yeah.
got you
Opposite
covered.
of boring.
I wanted to say that. What time is it? What we got?
6-4. We got
We're
12
about.
minutes.
We need to wrap it up. Pretty
Contact
soon.
me with a good time, whatever.
Okay. I just want to say that. So one of the things I experienced with dating, and I wonder how many other people can relate to this, because I gave away a marriage with my using, and the last time I dated, it was like 2010. There was no apps, like you had to actually go somewhere and approach someone. So I remember being clean and feeling confident and was healthy and was just, had money in my pocket, and just that it was a frontier. It was like the Wild West. I had no idea. Like, it was like,
Were you sport what?
Huh?
Sport what?
Sport.
Sport.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so,
So,
okay.
I mean,
All right.
you can. My
No.
sponsor. I used to have a sponsor.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, we never got the update on that.
So for people that didn't, obviously the first episode, my sponsor fired me. We kind of grown apart. I feel like I kind of outgrew him a little bit. The things that I was doing in life, we really just didn't have a relationship at all. I mean, we did, but it just wasn't enjoyable. Like, it's just like every time we talked, I felt like I was getting a lecture about, it's whatever. I'm not going to go too damn far down the rabbit hole, but no, I'm still searching for a sponsor. We'll see. I'm going to try to keep it updated. I still sponsor people, and it feels weird sponsoring people without a sponsor. I don't know if it should be that way, but life's good. Like I call Joel and Andrew when, if there's something that comes up, and I don't know. It's definitely a different area of my life. I feel like I have a little more opportunity or a little more leeway in, picking someone, like Joel says, that challenges me.
Mm-hmm.
And really exploring what options are out there. But we'll see. Hopefully someone comes down the path I'm just
SOS.
yeah.
Please, God.
No,
You know-
and maybe he's the perfect, sponsor. Someone that, you're not supposed to always be. You need someone that pushes you to a better you. So whether you like that person or not,
Should do like
Yeah.
a I need a sponsor run.
I need
with
someone.
t-shirts,
I need someone who's going to make me a better person, or make me want to be a better.
That'd be a
person.
gas shirt.
I need a sponsor.
Yeah.
Oh man, now we got one. That's another thing. It's like we need some good t-shirt ideas. And we have a big event coming up September 1st it's the Fentanyl Walk, and it's here in Sarasota. There's we'll walk over the Ringland Bridge and come back, and there's a resource fair. Shout out to Tony. Lemieux that's put this together.
With Grace Life Recovery.
Yeah, the houses out there. There's all the organizations that are involved. It's going to be huge, and we're so thankful for that event. So shout out to them. But I don't remember where I was going with that, but either way, it's like I feel like with not having a sponsor, the one thing that I've yet to do that I should be is more vocal about it to people in our circle, to talk about maybe like something that how they handled it. Maybe there's some people that have went through what I've went through.
You know what a sponsor would tell me? Like, raise your hand and say, I'm Paul and I don't have a sponsor.
Yeah.
And then you just get bum rushed at the end of the meeting.
It's
They'll be getting a line to be your sponsor.
I feel like that's I mean that's great, and I feel like if I was to get rid of a sponsee, it would be because they were a drug addict or they were using drugs and going back out and they wasn't doing their step work.
Yeah, you got a resentment.
Right, and I do have a resentment because I don't understand what I did to deserve, like, I mean, I'm thankful either way. I mean, I used to pay $2 a day to sit in jail, so I'm not going to complain about my situation. But I need to. Should I be looking for someone that's going to work around my schedule? I don't think so. Like, what are they going to do? Take me back through the steps on. I just want to make sure that I don't go and overcommit to somebody that I can't really give them the relationship that they need. I don't know.
I think you need to. I think
you should just date around. You know what I mean? Just try a few.
No,
sponsors
I
out.
suggest going back through the steps with multiple people. Over the course of
Right.
I mean, that's new angles, that's new discoveries, that's new challenges. I mean, that's what it's about.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, and to be fair, when my old sponsor would come in and he would start probing, like, oh yeah, well, I don't know what Andrew's doing, I don't know where Joel goes. I wouldn't like just go throw their business out there, but I knew Joel meets his sponsor once a week and goes out to dinner, or they meet up, and like. And I don't know if every sponsor should do that, but like that was something like I do with my sponsees. Like on Sunday mornings, I meet my sponsees. We go have coffee and we go to the gym, or we do things together. And I don't want to be the type of sponsors like I can't sponsor you unless you go to all these meetings that I go to. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like that's what I should be looking for.
I think it kind of comes back to what Joel was saying, that it's like it's not about the quantity, it's all about like the quality of your recovery,
Yeah, I agree. I think recovery is an experience that everyone experiences differently. What do they say? It's not a cookie cutter program.
It's not.
Well, is your sponsor the controlling type sponsor, or is he the enabling one, or is he? I mean, like there's just different facets of your guys' relationship,
Yeah, and I don't know. I know what my issues were. Maybe I could have been more vocal in reaching out. It kind of had gotten to a point where there was just too much ego involved. My old sponsor did not like the meetings that I went to, and they wasn't real meetings. So it was like every conversation, it was like, "Oh, you're not doing a good job in recovery." But then when I would sit down and look in the mirror, it's like, well, we're helping a lot of people. I go to the Sally we go every Friday to take meetings to other people, and like the service work is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, it went from helping just a couple people, maybe sponsor them, to hundreds. I mean, our outreach, if I really start counting all the people that we've, impacted their life, I mean, we're talking hundreds, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's insane.
And I really almost kind of feel like, to a degree, it's like, I don't know, not that there's like different levels of it, but like going to a meeting is kind of like something that almost like you're doing for you, and I feel like almost like the level above that is like the service work, is like what you guys are going out there and like creating opportunities for people that like need them, like you guys also go to meetings, but like you're also like creating a meeting for people. You know what I mean? Like you have a nonprofit, you're creating opportunities for people to stay sober. Like I feel like if there's anything that's going to help you stay sober, it's going to be like, it's the whole concept of like they say, like if you really want to know something, like teach it. You know what I mean? And that's like what you guys are doing through all these programs in your nonprofit and the service work, is you guys are creating opportunities for people to really like learn and like to be sober.
I think recovery is evolving. I think we're experiencing that.
Yeah.
I think that we're in the midst of an evolution of recovery where in our city, you have 110 AA meetings a day, but this new generation of people that need help recovery are not alcoholics. You know, and I'm not saying anything bad about AA. I love AA. I swear I found recovery, and for the most part, I'm a drug addict. You know, but I can identify, and I found a home in AA. But there's some groups that just, you know, you can't go and stand up and say, hey, I'm an addict, and rightfully so. That's just part of the different types of recovery. But recovery is evolving. You can't. And I would go to some meetings, and I wanted to put a bullet in my head. It just was not.
Yeah, what sets us apart is, I mean, we bring unity on just a different level that can be brought, I think, in just, you know, segregated 12-step programs.
Yeah, it was a happy medium.
And we do it through the service work platform.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really true recovery at its core. So
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like greeting and making coffee. But those particular meetings, I couldn't sit next to someone and openly talk about and use the word narcotics in an AA meeting. And so, like, I feel like with our meeting, like, I can sit up on stage or listen from the seats to a panel of people from all different backgrounds. And just because maybe I don't relate to that particular person, 10 other people do.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's ever, you know, we're never going to segregate for your coping mechanism. You know what I mean? It's, that's...
Come one, come
the
all.
whole- That's the whole point. So, it's unity.
All right. Well, it's about 7 o'clock. Anybody got anything they want to add?
Come
think
out,
we-
Next Generation Recovery.
Yeah. Follow us on Facebook. ProjectTexasCorp.com.
I hope so many people show up for Joel.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks,
See you.
guys.